Starting off this countdown, we have deja vu. We all know what deja vu is. I'm getting deja vu right now talking about it because I've done a video on deja vu before. But basically it's the feeling that something has already happened before, and scientists have struggled to explain what causes it. Well, there's a theory out there that deja vu occurs when different universes are in sync for a short period of time. For example, maybe you're in the bathroom and you grab your toothbrush. In another universe at the same time, maybe that version of yourself grabbed a hairbrush. Or in one universe you pour a glass of wine, in another you pour yourself a glass of champagne. Those things are happening at the same time, just with small differences. But you're in sync for that moment, and that's why you think to yourself, oh hey, I've done this before. Because in another universe, you just actually did. It's a crazy theory, but many believe it's true. I mean, for all we know, it is true. It's just hard to prove these things. Moving on at number 9, we have the dreams, and if you guys are liking this so far, then smash that like button because it really helps me out and I appreciate it and you're the best. Some scientists believe that dreams are actually glimpses into a parallel universe. By dreaming, you are seeing what yourself in another universe is doing. 1,000 years ago, mystics believed that dreams are what are happening in a parallel universe. But they also believe that this universe was home to ghosts and spirits. Well, over the years, scientists have agreed with this theory, minus all the ghost and spirit stuff. Well, this could explain why some people have had vivid dreams of places that they have never visited. Maybe that's because their other self was currently there visiting it. Or when you see something in your dream and then the next day it happens in real life. That has happened to me on a number of occasions. Either you're psychic or you got an insight into another universe when you were dreaming, and that's how you knew it was going to occur. Now, there is no way to prove this, but there's also no way to disprove this. In our 8th spot today, we have the Flintstones. Who loves this classic cartoon? That and the Jetsons were pretty iconic. Smash that like button if you agree. Now, the Flintstones are pronounced as so you would think it would be spelt as so. No, apparently it's the Flintstones with the hard T. I refuse to believe this. Now, you may be thinking, Lindsay, what's the big deal? Well, this is an example of the Mandela effect. I've talked about this before a lot. Basically, it's when a bunch of people remember something being a certain way, and another group of people remember it being a different way. The Mandela effect, for those of you who don't know, is named off of Nelson Mandela, because people clearly remember him dying in prison in the 80s when he didn't actually pass away until 2013. So theory goes that there are parallel universes out there. In this case, we have the Flintstones universe and the Flintstones universe. Over time, maybe our universes merged, which is why we have the memory of the Flintstones. The show was actually named that, just in another universe. Little things like these are signs that multiple universes are out there. In our 7th spot today, we have the strange space signals. In spring of 2020, NASA legit thought they found concrete evidence of parallel universes. Basically, they detected some odd signals coming from the South Pole. It was so odd that they had no explanation for it besides parallel universes. So basically, they discovered that high energy neutrinos were coming up out of the Earth and headed to the sky. In fact, they found that this energy was coming up from the Earth instead of down from space. Now, this was weird for a number of reasons. The fact it was going up suggests that when the Big Bang occurred, it formed two universes, one that flows forward and the other in reverse, meaning the other universe is traveling back in time while we're moving forward. For them, the Big Bang represents an end, not the beginning. That is mind-blowing. In our 6th spot, we have Star Wars. This is another example of the Mandela effect, and it's going to make you freaking lose your mind. Who here is a Star Wars fan? Smash that like button or comment down below if you are. Well, even if you're not a fan, I'm sure you all have heard or seen that dramatic scene where it's revealed that Luke's father is, spoiler alert, Darth Vader. He goes, "Luke, I am your father." Wrong. Apparently, he never even said that, yet we all remember him saying the line exactly like that. And even huge Star Wars fans agree to this. Well, when you watch the scene, Luke says, "He told me you killed him," in regards to Obi-Wan telling him that Darth Vader killed his dad. Then Darth Vader replies with, "No, I am your father." So he never even says Luke, it's just no. What the actual heck? So again, people believe that this is a sign that we switched universes. In the other universe, the movie had Darth Vader say the line, "Luke, I am your father." In this universe, he did not. mad at that one. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the black holes. This next theory was created by Stephen Hawking, and that dude was a freaking genius. So if he believes that black holes are a signal from a parallel universe, then maybe I do too. So in 2016, Stephen Hawking created a study in which he proposed that black holes actually lead to another universe. Instead of destroying everything that goes near them, it just transports you into another universe. Previously, it was said that anything that gets sucked into the hole will be destroyed and lost forever. But in this case, they would just travel through and pop out into another universe. Maybe that's why scientists are starting to discover weird space objects that look unlike anything from our universe. It's because they're coming from a different universe. Maybe Stephen Hawking is onto something, and black holes are actually portals. In our 4th spot, we have the simulation. In 2018, researchers ran a massive computer simulation that involved building a new universe under a variety of different conditions, and they discovered that universes could still be created even with less dark energy as ours. Study co-author Pascal Elahi said, and I quote, "Even in universes with 300 times as much dark energy as ours, life found a way. Our simulation showed that the accelerated expansion driven by dark energy has hardly any impact on the birth of stars, and hence places for life to arise." Meaning, other planets can exist in other universes even if that universe was being torn apart by dark energy. He continued on saying, and I quote, "Even increasing dark energy many hundreds of times might not be enough to make a dead universe." They then went on to believe that aliens are living on planets in other universes. The reason we haven't found them yet is because they're in other universes, not ours. In our 3rd spot, we have the pattern. A number of astronomers started picking up a weird signal coming from the sky. Basically, the signal will chime for 4 days, then after the 4th day, it'll stop. It will then stop for 12 days before picking up again and doing the same thing over and over again. It's thought that maybe on the days where it's not sending a signal towards us, it's actually sending a signal in another direction or to another universe. Some believe that this is coming from aliens or other life forms, or from people in another universe. If not, what else could it be? The signal is very consistent and they still don't have an explanation for it. In our 2nd spot, we have the silence of the lambs. Here's another Mandela effect example that will make you lose your mind. Okay. All of you have better seen the movie Silence of the Lambs. If you haven't, you're not a true horror fan. Anyways, for some reason, we all remember Hannibal Lecter going, "Hello, Clarice." You know, that was my Anthony Hopkins impression. Pretty good one. And he says it in a really freaking scary way. But apparently, he never said that in the movie. He only has said good morning during their first meeting. This is not okay. I literally can picture him saying it right now. So here's another sign that there are multiple universes. There's a universe where Anthony Hopkins does "Hello, Clarice," and one where he doesn't. And in our number 1 spot today, we have the cosmic bruise. In 2017, cosmologists discovered a weird cold spot in the universe. After studying it, a number of people believe that this cold spot is a bruise that was left after our universe collided with another universe. Professor Tom Shanks in Durham University's Center for Extragalactic Astronomy said, and I quote, "One explanation for the cold spot is that it might be the remnant signal of the collision of our universe and one of the trillions of others." In fact, the team found 4 bruises, meaning that our universe has collided several other times in the past. Meaning, there has to be multiple universes out there.
Coming in at number 10, we have the Bermuda Triangle. Ever wondered about the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle? It's a known spot for boat and plane disappearances. This spot between Miami, Bermuda and San Juan in Puerto Rico has seen a large number of mysterious disappearances, leading some people to speculate that there is something mysterious and malicious going on. Some of the most notable losses have been the USS Cyclops that disappeared with 308 people on board in 1918, and the disappearance of the US Navy Avenger torpedo planes in 1945. According to the Express news publication, on average 4 planes and 20 boats are reported lost every year in the area. While we've never officially gotten to the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle mystery, some people think that it is a portal to another universe, and well, I guess that's why. Why couldn't there be a portal in the ocean? Recently, a treasure hunter claimed that they found an unidentified object that they believe is an alien spaceship under the Bermuda Triangle. Maybe it isn't something that crash landed, maybe it's something that came up. Perhaps it's a scary signal from a parallel universe. Coming into number 9, we have the Aurora Borealis. Is the aurora, otherwise known as the Northern Lights, a signal from another universe? The aurora appears as glowing curtains, like thin pieces of fabric waving in the wind. They're parallel rays that move in the direction of magnetic winds. They're charged solar particles reacting with our atmosphere and magnetic field. But can you imagine what people thought when they first saw them? Even though we have an explanation these days, people still find them understandably mystical. Some people believe that they are where the multiverses collide and two dimensions touch. This idea is kind of explored in Philip Pullman's Northern Lights or the Golden Compass, where the aurora lights the passage to another world. Okay, let's get a little further into the physics of the Earth's poles, shall we? Coming into number 8, we have the South Atlantic anomaly. So the Earth has a double set of radiation belts, the outer and inner radiation belts that splay out like wings surrounding the Earth. This is often referred to as Van Allen. Anyway, these pull in the magnetic poles, but there is something weird going on, the South Atlantic anomaly. This is where the Earth's inner Van Allen radiation belt comes closest to the Earth's surface, dipping down to just 120 miles in the sky. Here is where the Earth's magnetic field is weakest. This area has higher than usual levels of radiation. The International Space Station has extra shielding when passing through this area, and the Hubble Space Telescope doesn't take observations when it passes through. Astronauts have claimed to see weird shooting stars in this area too. Now the anomaly is exactly that. An anomaly. There's no matching in the north. Some people think that it means that our magnetic poles are primed and ready to flip. Others say it's evidence of a portal to a parallel universe. Alright, taking it in a different direction at number 7, we have cows falling through this sky. So like, how else would you explain a cow falling through the sky to Earth? Clearly the cow is just grazing way too near to a rip or a window in its parallel universe and it fell through to ours. But like a really inconvenient location in the sky. I don't know, it does sound crazy, sure. In 2003, the New York Times ran an article about a Japanese fishing boat that was sunk by a flying cow, or more accurately, a cow that fell from the sky. In 2013, a Brazilian man was killed when a cow fell through his roof and crushed him. Where are these cows coming from? Could they be from another dimension? Maybe. Coming into number 6, we have the quantum jump. According to a man named Burt Goldman, often referred to as the American monk, he can jump through to alternate universes using meditation. Goldman has practiced Zen meditation for 50 years and now believes that he can access the multiverse. In one of his controversial YouTube videos, he says that there is an infinite number of parallel realities existing with us in the same room. He describes his multi-dimensional mental teleportation as a controlled daydream, which actually kind of builds on from our part 1 where we discussed some cultures believing that dreams come from a parallel universe. Coming into number 5, we have Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Some people believe that mirrors offer a glimpse into an alternate reality. A lot of these people have watched a lot of Star Trek, but to be fair, after scripting 2 of these videos and hearing some of the finer physics behind it all, it isn't even the craziest thing that I've ever heard. Believers in the occult and witchcraft often have a lot of superstitions surrounding mirrors. Perhaps Bloody Mary isn't a ghoul summoned from the dead, but a spooky lady from an alternate reality. Or maybe not. Some people believe that if you stare hard enough at your own reflection, you'll catch a glimpse of a parallel you, but this could just be hypnotic hallucination. Alright, building on from mirrors for a moment, at number 4 we have what lives behind the dark matter. Over the last few decades, scientists have observed a whole bunch of dark matter hanging out in our universe. Dark matter, so to speak, are dark spots that seem to make up 26.8% of our universe. No one knows what it consists of, and no one's ever really seen it because it doesn't interact with the matter that scientists know about, visible matter that makes up around 4.9% of what we can see. Cosmology is a vast and complicated topic and field of study, so to simplify intense and thoroughly researched studies, some cosmologists do think that dark matter could be the sign of another inverse universe existing side by side to ours, but unseen. If you do want to do a deep dive into dark matter, I would recommend checking out Lisa Randall and Gigi Fan's new theory of dark matter. Coming into number 3, we have the mysterious case of Linnea Barcia. The internet is awash with stories from Linnea Barcia's strange day. The woman wrote to a Spanish website to say that she'd somehow jumped to another universe in 2008. This universe was similar, but not quite her known reality. The post came in 2008, and the 41-year-old said that she was worried that she was suffering from a psychotic breakdown, and I get it. She said that she'd gone to sleep one evening and woken up the next day to find a world around her altered in very strange and subtle ways. The sheets on her bed, for example, were different, which was somewhat baffling. When she went to work, she found that she was actually working in a different department in a slightly different part of the office. She found that she was still with her ex-boyfriend, not her new boyfriend of 4 months. Her sister had never had the surgery on her arm that she swore that she did. Odd. She wrote that the rest of the world seemed much the same. She went to the doctors and they suggested that she was suffering from hallucinogenic stress. Maybe she was, or maybe she slipped into a parallel universe. Coming into number 2, we have aliens and UFOs. There have been a number of alien and UFO sightings throughout history, and things really seem to ramp up between the 1940s and 1980s. The most notorious sightings include the Roswell crash landings, the Kenneth Arnold sightings, the Lubbock lights, the 76 Tehran incident, and the Belgium wave. The problem is that none of the sightings have ever been confirmed as aliens. They're simply unidentified objects amid unexplained phenomenon. On top of that, cosmologists and astronomers haven't identified any life beyond our planet as of yet, so it couldn't possibly be aliens, unless they've figured out how to travel faster than the speed of light and move quickly into hyperspace, in which case they could be coming from a parallel galaxy, or maybe they traveled through a wormhole from a parallel universe. Alright, finally coming into number 1, we have one of the most credible pieces of evidence for a parallel universe, but it gets pretty heavy, so bear with me, we're talking about electrons. Alright, so this is some pretty deep physics and it can get a bit intense, so I just want you to open your mind for a moment. So this is the humble electron. It could be the key to proving parallel universes once and for all. Electrons are little subatomic particles. Now, I want to try and keep it simple so we can all understand, but electrons can spin both clockwise and anti-clockwise. But quantum mechanics says that they can spin both clockwise and counterclockwise at the very same time, which means there are two things happening at the same time, which is hard for us to get our heads around because how? To quote an article in Noteworthy, if the world is full of weird objects that are spinning clockwise and counterclockwise at the same time, why have I in my entire life never seen that happen? That excellent question is the heart of what has become known as the quantum measurement paradox. The answer here simply could be the multiverse, and the key could be the makeup of everything. Electrons get even weirder as observed in quantum indeterminism. Basically, to keep this simple, if you fire an electron through a double slit, you would expect it to go through one slit or the other. However, scientists have observed electrons acting like waves, passing through both slits simultaneously and interfering with itself at the end. It's very, very complicated, but this could be a hint towards proving the theory that multiple outcomes create multiple universes. For example, there's a universe that exists where I put my hair behind my ear, and there's one where I chose not to. They may interfere with one another.
Starting off this countdown, we have the warning. This individual actually received a signal from his parallel universe self, and had he not, he might have actually died. So the narrator, who wants to remain anonymous, let's call him Robbie, was out walking one day when he saw a version of himself across the street. At first, he thought he was just seeing things, but surely right across the street was himself, just staring at him. He was dressed in identical clothing and everything. Robbie stopped and stared at him when all of a sudden his twin yelled out, "Run!" At that moment, a car came hurtling towards Robbie's twin. He saw himself get hit by the car, so he turned and he ran. And it's a good thing that he did, because seconds later, that same car came hurtling towards him. He looked back and Robbie in the car that hit him was gone, but there was a real accident that occurred right in front of his eyes. Had he not run, he would have been hit and killed. So he believes that his parallel universe self saved himself from dying. In our 9th spot today, we have the reverse signals. In 2016 and in 2018, scientists in Antarctica discovered radio pulses being emitted from the ground. The radio pulses detected high-energy neutrinos and were discovered by the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, otherwise known as ANITA. But here's the weird thing. The signals were coming up out of the Earth and heading towards the sky. Since the signals were coming up from the Earth instead of down from space, people believed that they may be traveling back in time and therefore from a parallel universe. For this universe, the Big Bang represents the end and not the beginning. Coming in at number 8, we have Euronymous. This story really freaking gives me the creeps. Basically, a Norwegian black metal fan believes that he's stuck in the wrong universe. So the story was posted by I Love Transylvania on Reddit. They asked for help and advice. It all started when he woke up and found out that his favorite musician, Euronymous, had died. But not recently. He died in 1993. Immediately, he thought that this was some kind of joke because just recently he had seen him in concert. The year he saw him was 2013, which is 20 years after his death, which is physically impossible. Not only that, but in the early 2000s, he bumped into him in a shop and even bought a record from him there. Not only that, but he can't seem to get in contact with any of his friends. He tries calling and texting, but their numbers are all out of service. So this guy either thinks he's going insane or he somehow got transported to another universe, our current one in which Euronymous passed away in 1993. In our 7th spot today, we have the man from Torrid. Now, this might be a perfect example of some accidental dimension jumping. Now, you might be sick of hearing me talk about this story, but it literally blows my mind. It's one of my favorite stories, so I'm sharing it again. For those of you who don't know, in July of 1954, a well-dressed man arrived at the Haneda Airport in Tokyo, Japan. When he was questioned at customs, he said he was from a place called Torrid. However, as we know, Torrid is not a real place. So immediately the officers were like, red flag, detain him. Later, he was placed in a hotel and was monitored by 2 guards. In the hotel, his room was placed high up and there was only one entry and exit point. Yet he still managed to escape. How he managed to escape is physically impossible. So, some people think that Torrid is a real place, but it's located in a different universe. And this man somehow passed through a parallel dimension and ended up at the airport. Others think that it's all just a made-up legend. If so, then why did the story get international news and wind up in the papers? I don't know, it's up to you. You believe whatever, but I think it's freaking creepy. Coming in at number 6, we have the parallel drivers. You're about to notice a trend here. A number of parallel universe stories feature cars and car accidents. It's quite weird, like this one. So this next guy was visiting his grandparents when he was almost hit by a car. So he was in a car park when a car nearly hit him and another car. As the car passed him, he got a look at the passengers. And that's when he knew that something was very off. In the car, there were 3 passengers, a woman, her daughter, and a male driver. What was weird is that they were all staring, looking forward, with no emotion on their face whatsoever. It looked as if they were all just zoned out or in another world, maybe quite literally. As the car continued driving by, he realized that it was his family's car. Freaking out, thinking that their car had been stolen, he ran to his family, only to find the car parked in the grandparents' driveway. Now, I don't have an explanation for this one. I really don't. But it seems like the people in that car were from another dimension and were unaware that they were appearing elsewhere. Seems like the 2 universes might have merged for that second. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with deja vu. After all this time, scientists don't have a clear explanation for deja vu. They believe that everyday deja vu experiences might be linked to the memories in our temporal area, but they have yet to prove this or come up with any other explanations. Others believe that deja vu occurs when different universes are in sync for a short period of time. For example, maybe in one universe you picked up a bottle of wine to pour yourself a glass, but maybe a different version of yourself in another universe picked up a beer. This happened at the same time, so you're in sync for that moment. And that's when you get that feeling, like, didn't I just do this? It's because your other self did something similar. Coming in at number 4, we have precognitive dreams. Precognitive dreams are dreams that can predict the future, or they can provide you with information that you wouldn't have otherwise known. There are a number of people that have had this happen to them, including myself. I've had dreams and then the next day it's come true, and there's no possible way for me to have known that this was going to happen. In fact, we have a whole series on dreams that have predicted the future, so if you want, check that out as well. Anyways, one theory is that these dreams are signals from your other self in a different universe. Maybe something is about to happen in your life and has already happened in their life. or they're sending you a signal in your sleep to warn you about upcoming dangers. Moving on to number 3, we have the change of route. A couple of years ago, the next narrator was walking to work one day when they all of a sudden had an urge to take a different path. Every day they took the same route, but today they decided to go down a different way. So they turned and went down an alley. Now, I mean, any normal person would be like, no, don't go down that creepy dark alley, you're gonna get mugged or killed. But something was telling this guy that he needed to go down that way. So he did. And that's when he zoned out. He said that his mind went scrambled. He also said, and I quote, "I felt like I didn't have a body anymore, just that I was a semi-conscious entity floating through some weird dimension. All of a sudden, in the array of different colors and shapes, a vision came to me. It was a bunch of strange-looking people that in my mind resembled businessmen in suits. They looked startled and panicked that I could see them. One of the people made a quick movement and everything turned black. Then when he snapped out of this, he found himself on a completely different street, back on his way to work." I don't have an explanation for this. Honestly, it seems like for a split second he was looking into another universe or something though. In our second spot, we have the close call. Several years ago, this guy worked at Little Caesar's Pizza. He worked as one of those sign spinners, to get people into the store. One day, while sign spinning, he saw a van heading straight at him. It drove over the curb and hit him directly. He felt it crush him against the street post. Then everything turned black. But all of a sudden, he gasped and he was awake and still alive. He's still on the corner and he's still holding his sign. No car was there, he was alive. Since he was shaken from the experience, he decided to go inside the store for his break. As he walked away, he heard a loud crash. As he turned around, he saw the same van crash into the street post where he had been standing. So maybe in another universe, he died from that car crash. In this universe, he survived. And in our number 1 spot today, we have the portal. There's a cabin in the Marcahuasi Stone Forest in Peru that apparently is a ticket to another dimension. This story was told by a woman who one day was out camping in the forest with her friends. That's when they heard music coming from another area in the forest, so they decided to follow the sound and check it out. Then they came across a small stone cabin. It was illuminated by torches. What was weird is that they could see in through the windows, and the people inside were wearing 17th century fashion. The women, being curious, decided to go check it out. In fact, one of the friends was a little too curious, and she tried entering the cabin. She stepped foot inside when her friend pulled her away. Instantly, half of her body became paralyzed. It was the half that entered the cabin. To this day, she still remains paralyzed on that side of her body. So it's believed that this cabin would have taken them to another dimension. Since half of her body entered another dimension and then was yanked out, it threw off her nervous system, resulting in her partial paralysis.